Well, hello there, and welcome to Mission Unstoppable. Today, I have a wonderful guest and a great show for you, and it might be maybe a little hard to hear. We'll see. Depends on how sensitive you are, but I think anybody's going to find, this story very, very hard to hear. Meet Mia Odeh. She was a child bride given into marriage by her family, despite her unwillingness to wed a stranger. She was 16 years old. She was flown thousands of miles away from her home in Palestine to Arizona, virtually by a stranger. She was trapped, she was beaten, she was raped like it was this man's religion. Mia's future looked like it was an endless repeat of horror upon horror. How did she get out? Stay tuned and stay close. Mia's one happiness came with each child, but so did increased beatings. This is a story of resilience, of heart, and a mother's love that will endure almost anything for her children. Welcome, Mia.
Hi, Frankie. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. You giving me the time to talk about my life story.
There's nothing like being able to share your truth. And while it's very difficult, it's a difficult story to hear. It's a difficult story to live. It's a difficult story to hear. But you know what? Truth is truth, and people need to hear the truth. And
absolutely,
you come from a patriarchal society that treats women like they're nothing, and it's very, very hard. I mean, we're all working very hard. I work for Girl Power Talk. We're all working very hard to create parity in the world, to create at least gender parity, and change those old habits, old thoughts, old systems that treat women like property.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It's sad.
So tell me, let's go back to home. You were, growing up as a child in Palestine. Did you have to wear a niqab or a burqa? What did you have to wear?
No, in the area where I come from, they don't wear the cover on the face, but the head, long sleeve and long outfits. Yeah, that we did that.
So your hair always had to be covered?
All the time. Even if somebody comes to visit you at home, if it's men, you have to cover.
And were there rules, if it wasn't covered, you get beaten or something like that? Like the girls are going through right now in Iran?
Well, I mean, it would, but when you grow up with it and you kind of get used to it, it's become like your second nature. When somebody knocks on the door, you have to check on the door. Somebody comes and visits. It's a habit. It's you just go and get your cover and put on something real quick and just cover yourself.
So what would you wear at home? Would you wear long outfits, or would you dress like Western? Did you wear makeup?
Back home, you mean, in Palestine?
Mm-hmm.
I never
you were still young
before. Yeah. I never wore makeup before when I was growing up. We're not even allowed to get our eyebrows done.
Really?
So, but you wear long pants, a shirt and things like that. And you'll always have something on hand close to you. If somebody knocked on the door or somebody came in, it'll be a quick, okay, find your things. If you're the only one over there, or you just expect that. It's just, it's
normal for you. You don't know differently.
Yeah, it's like you're breathing.
Yeah. So you have a couple of older sisters, I think. Is that correct?
I have a lot of older sisters. I was number 16 in the family.
Oh my God.
I have 8 sisters and 4 brothers back home. We used to be 16, but 4 of them died when they were toddlers and young age. But if they were still alive, they would be still older than me.
Yeah. So the sisters, obviously older. You were 16 at the time, so many of them would have been married.
Yeah, let's just say, for example, my oldest brother, his son, same age as me, is only 10 days different between us.
Okay. Yeah.
And the rest of them are not very far apart from one another, because imagine 16 kids, so there was one after the other. There was not much gap between one another.
Not much gap at all. Your poor mom.
I remember my sister pretty much raised me in a way where when he came to start at school, she would dress me up, she would get me ready for breakfast and help me with my homework. And my mom had next to no involvement in my life. I don't really have any good memories with my mom.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know that happens though in larger families. It's it's left to the older ones to start to raise the younger ones, and it's pretty natural to have to do that. So your sisters were older, they were married, and nobody shared the story with you that this is what's going to happen in your life? Nobody gave you a heads up, let's say, that
About
you,
like my marriage?
about that you could get married, you're going to get married and your husband's going to tell you what to do. And like, did you suspect it, or did you think, oh, maybe I can fall in love with somebody, maybe I'll be allowed to do that? Like, what did you think? The
Well,
dream
I don't
versus the reality, let's say. You're still very young, so to think about it, but
I don't think we were allowed to really have so much kind of love for a guy that you're not married to. Like, let's just say you came across or you see someone and you're just like, oh, that guy looks really cute or whatever. If you have feelings, you just got to keep that to yourself. Your family better not kind of catch on to that. For me to kind of be prepared and learn about like marriage, I witnessed my sisters, you know, out of 9 sisters, only one of my sister, her husband came out a nice person. The rest of them are absolutely, I would not count them as men. I would probably consider them more of monsters, and they
wow.
really should not stay with them, but it's nothing that they can do over there. I witnessed the neighbors, you know, they get abused by their husband. So I kind of, when I was in middle school and I saw a situation happen across the street with the lady and her husband, and first thing came to my mind, like, I wonder if that's going to happen to me one day. And it was not very long before my marriage got arranged after that. It was just like within a few years, which is not really a long time.
No. So did any of your siblings ever get educated in the West?
I know one of my brothers, he did study a dentist in Germany. And I guess he did have a little kind of connection with a female over there. But when he came back home, I guess everything ended. But that's pretty much like the only person that I would think he was kind of out of the country and maybe learned a little bit. But he came back and it really didn't really change him to be more of a modern, let's just say, a gentleman.
Yeah.
None of my brothers are.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Mia.
Okay.
So basically, when your husband, what was his name? You don't want to say his name, it doesn't matter.
Fayed.
Fayed?
Fayed.
When he brought you to America, you went to Arizona in the beginning, right? And you were virtually trapped because you had no language. You could not communicate with anybody. You didn't know English. You didn't know anything. So how can you even call out for help? Because
you can't.
Like, you're trapped.
Really, the only person you can reach out to talk to is him, and you're terrified of him. You have that gut feeling inside you. Is like you just cannot go far enough to be away from that man. So really, technically, it was terrifying in so many ways. Different culture, different language. Anywhere you go around the house, you can't really do nothing around the house because you don't understand. Then there is him, a whole complete strange person that absolutely you're not even having that good feeling to even say, well, okay, I can at least
try
talk to that person. So
he
it was
said that he
like,
smelled really bad. He was just disgusting to be near.
I don't know if I can explain how awful on like online.
He didn't bathe?
Like it's such a blessing to have a shower. It's such a good feeling, but he used to go for like over a week.
Isn't that like against
really
the religion?
Having to get cleaned up. I'm sorry.
Isn't that against his religion even to be like that?
I mean, you gotta be always physically clean. I grew up in a family where my family were like overall they're really kind of clean. But to him, I don't think he was really more of like a religious person at all. I think he just used it to give himself power. Any guy over there that would use certain ways how to treat a woman, I don't call that religion.
No.
Like they did not pick that from anywhere like religious or for like say God said, oh, you gotta do it that way. I think that's just really to help them to be more in control.
Absolutely.
To
And
satisfy
religion
their
keeps
ego.
people in control too. You know, it's just another way to control people.
Oh yeah.
The masses. So this man, do you think he consciously believed that he would never get caught? You know, that he had impunity wherever he went to treat you like property. I know he said to you, you know, don't even have a thought. You're not allowed to have a thought. You're like furniture.
Yeah.
Right? Don't have a thought. You know, if you had a thought, let's slap that thought out of you because that's
you're not allowed. You don't count. Your opinion, your thought, your whatever that comes into your mind, it does not count. Don't even bother to bring it up because he is going to look at you and not even acknowledge you. I remember one time I stated my opinion about a furniture when we first came to Michigan, and he told me, whatever you say is not going to count. If you have something to say and you want something in particular, go ask your father for it, not me. So your opinion, whatever you think,
But you said your father was a kind man.
Yes,
Your
I
father
love
was a
my
kind man,
father.
but he couldn't intervene. He wouldn't intervene.
He's like that kind of person with a really, really big heart, but I feel like his personality was a little more on the weak side, where it's like, I'm just trying to survive life, kind of. But he did take good care
He
of
didn't
his
like
family in
confrontation.
every way, like in all the other ways, except my mom was constantly like, she was the dominant in the situation. It's like, it's her final say, whatever it is, big or small, it goes back
Lucky
to
her
her.
that she got that. She got to be like that. How did like how
Yeah,
did
I
that
know.
happen?
I don't know. Me and my sister, like, how did she pull that off? None of us like her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I'm okay with being equal. Like, if you get
Yes,
along with your husband, you don't want to overpower him and vice versa. Work together side by side
exactly.
and have the same kind of respect for each other. I believe that would be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful thing. Yeah.
Not in her case.
No, I mean, but
That
she at
poor
least
man.
she wasn't getting beaten, right? She wasn't
He
getting.
was such a nice person. I absolutely love my father. Me and my sisters were so close to him. Like, I have more of a memory with my father, and I don't have anything with my mom, not even on the simple where to my age, I still sometimes sit and think, I can't come up with one time where she said, I love you.
Wow, I'm sorry
None,
about that.
which
Yeah,
is, it's sad, but I mean, I'll get over it.
that's life, right? Her
Yeah.
life, anyway, your life. So he brought you to America. You didn't speak the language. You were like 16 years old. You're looking at this stuff. You go, I don't even know how this stuff works. It's a fridge. It's a stove. Like, we don't have anything like this back home. Like, how do you cook? Can I boil water? Like tea or whatever. I can just imagine, like, you're looking around going, oh, I don't get it, and
It is really terrifying. I got
yeah,
like internally as a female, like really sick, because it's the sex being forced on me. It's the culture, being different and can't communicate with nobody. For over a year, the only person that I would talk to if I want to, it's him. And it's like bare minimum
you
next
didn't
to me.
want to be noticed. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he left you alone quite a bit that first year, did he? What did he do for work? Like, it seemed like he was gone quite a bit.
He was an engineer.
Oh,
At first, when we got married, I don't know exactly what kind of work he did, because I didn't really understand like what they do.
mhm.
But he used to leave and come back, which is, I always hoped he would not come back, but he
Yeah.
always did.
Could the plane go down or something? Yeah.
Yeah, something. And when we went back overseas for like not short time, really, just a few years, and he worked for like Qatar Petroleum.
Yeah.
And then when we came back to Arizona, and he applied for work, and he was a computer engineer for Ford Motor Company.
Okay. I'm
Amazing,
surprised
huh?
that even like his hygiene working for a company like that, they wouldn't make him do something.
It is hilarious. When we first got married, and he used to dress up those really hideous outfits. And then when I went for, after 1 year of being married, went to visit my family, and I said, I got to do something. I can't keep looking at that. Then I got him a couple outfits. And then when he first wore it and went to work, and they told him, oh, you look in a way like you look decent and normal. What changed? They told him I got married.
That's
It's
funny.
like, it still didn't work much, but it's something.
It's something. And so how soon did you have your first child?
I got married 1993, and I got pregnant with my first baby. And I lost the baby at like 4 months. So it's like April 1994. And then I got pregnant again shortly after that. And I had my oldest son right now.
Yeah. And so how many years are between your children?
Not much. So let's just say I started my first baby in 1996, the one that's my oldest right now. And with my husband, that one, 2002, that's when I had my youngest son with him. So that's
Okay.
5 kids from 1996 to
Wow.
2002.
And so he had no involvement with the children, didn't
He
care.
never changed the diaper. He never woke up at nighttime to,
Did he engage at all? Like, oh, I love my son, or nothing?
no, none of his kids remember that he ever showed any affection. It actually, as a matter of fact, when we were overseas, his oldest son, he told me, Mom, which is a young kid. I mean, like, they got so much questions. Why does it feel so cold to be around him? but it feels so warm to be around you, which is, it warmed up my heart.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that you have to try to explain. But then again, I'm like, I was confused at the same time. It's like, how could you be so cruel and cold to your own children? Your son was like 7 years old, and he can pick up on how to be around you, which
Yeah.
is, it's disappointing in every way. But yeah, he had no involvement in his
So when
kids
you went
at
back
all.
home, you went back to Palestine for a little bit, you stayed for a little bit. How many kids did you have then? Like how many of them were there?
Well, when we went, when he found the other job, when we went to Qatar, the Gulf area in 1996, I had 5 kids.
Oh, you had all 5 back
Yeah,
then?
from 1996 till 2002, I had 5 kids with him when we were over there. Because when I left in 1996, I was pregnant with my oldest son.
Okay. So they got a hit, they got a taste of the culture, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really go out much. We were not really allowed to go anywhere. School, grocery store. I could remember probably all those years, we had only maybe about 3 or 4 times that like a family came to visit. And after that, they kind of backed out a little bit. But he would not allow us to visit. And I was not allowed to drive over there. But when the kids started going to school, and he didn't want to go come and pick them up and drop them off and go get grocery and all that kind of stuff. He told me, now I can let you drive here, but it's not because I love you. You need to do the things that I want you to do because I don't want to do it. He was straightforward. He told me many times that I didn't marry you to love you. I don't love you. He was straightforward. He didn't even blink saying it. He says, I needed someone to take care of his needs, whatever it is, as a man, and cook and clean and give me kids, which is, I'm not sure why he wanted kids when
Yeah.
he had
Doesn't sound like
absolutely
he needed
zero
it.
involvement with them, because when he left after the divorce, he never looked back, ever,
Did he pay child support?
for like a year or so. And then when he left the country, obviously between
Yeah.
different laws, they can't really go do, but he's back home, he's married, and he have a son.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Poor woman.
I know, right? It's insane.
So you're here let's start, we're still in Arizona. It took you how long to learn any English, let's say?
First year that was completely gone. And I
You
think,
watched television a little bit, you start to pick up a little
I
bit?
mean, I opened the TV, but I can see the pictures and things moving, nothing at all. And then maybe after a year and a half, he wanted to enroll me in high school. And it was really difficult for me. I was feeling like out of place, and the way I was dressed, and I can't talk. It's just, everything was completely like night and day different. So I was really struggling. And picked up a few words here and there. Didn't really help me much, but then I started watching more TV to learn slowly. I started kind of getting baby books, because I said, I gotta join everybody, I have to learn something. And slowly, with a lot of cartoons all day long, and baby books and the dictionary, and I picked up a little bit. And every once in a while, when I know I'm comfortable with that level, then I kind of bring it up a little bit harder for me to kind of learn different words.
And so when your kids started school, that must have helped tremendously.
Yeah, when the kids started, we were back in Qatar, and they were going to British schools. So we were like, I was learning at the same time as they were learning, except they learned more because they were more involved in it.
Sure. And their
All
brains
day.
are more facile.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were immersed in it. So by the time you came back to Arizona, you could speak again.
Yeah, I was definitely more comfortable.
Yeah. And then when he moved to Michigan, he moved the family to Michigan. And that's kind of where everything fell apart, or got better, even, however you want to put it.
It's like it went really down, and then it's just kind of slowly started coming up, but it went to a different, really kind of stress level of, my experience after the divorce. So we came to Michigan in 2005, and I left the house in 2006 in January. I mean, like, it was really bad. Back home, the abuse was physically, mentally, verbally, emotionally.
You're lucky to be alive, really. You're
Yeah,
lucky
and
to be alive.
his kids were also being abused. I tried to commit a suicide back overseas. As much as I tried to reach out for my family every once
But
in a
your family
while.
wouldn't help you. They go, that's life, c'est la vie.
Yep. If my mom says no, you are not getting out of a situation. That's it. And my brothers were her, like it's her and my brothers.
Yeah.
And
Did he pay
it's
your
just
family money or anything? Was that why they wanted him so bad?
I don't think so, because my family was, were fine. My well off. My father had his own business, properties and
Why did they
homes.
care how badly you were? Like, why would they care then?
Because to get a divorce is kind of more of a shameful kind of thing. It's like, well, why did you get divorced? They never look at it as probably the man is really bad, which is they knew. I told them how he
Yeah.
behaves, and they said that's okay as long as you're eating, you're drinking, you got a place of your own. What more do you want? And how about love, respect? I want someone to
Yeah.
look
How about
forward
not
to
being
come home.
beaten
That
or
don't matter.
raped? Yeah.
Yeah.
How
So
about that?
2005 we came, and the physical abuse stopped, but the sexual, verbal, mental, no. He used to corner me, tower over me. I'm like 5'3", so he's like a really big guy compared to me. And the kids started reaching out to the neighbors. Cops start showing up, and they can hear me screaming and crying. And he got arrested in the Canton Police Department. And from there, I left, went to the shelter. I also never heard of a shelter before, because back home, when you get a divorce, if you're lucky to get a divorce, you go back to your family until someone else
Marries you.
wants to marry you, which is, it seems like if you got a divorce, it's like you have a black mark on your
Sure.
record. It's just like, okay, like you're damaged in a way, which is it's so unfair.
Yeah.
And
So
and I
nobody in
left.
your family's been divorced, none of your sisters?
I had a sister that she got divorced because her in-laws thought she can't have kids, which is, it turned out to be their son can't have kids.
Oh.
And when she went back home, my mom would not even allow her to see the street until she got married again.
Oh my gosh.
It was really rough on her.
Poor
So when
girl.
I left the house, the police helped me kind of learn about the safe house. Before I left, he was trying to scare me. He told me, well, if you leave the house, over here in this country, they'll take your kids, they'll give them up, they'll make money off of them. You'll never see them again. You never worked. You don't know how to support them here. You can't pull it off without me. So obviously I
Believed
opened
it.
up to the police officer, not knowing is that really true or not. And he told me that is absolutely not true. In here, you have a right. I mean, you take good care of your kids, nobody can take them away from you. They can help you find a job, get your own place, take care of your kids, and they teach you how to get on your feet. And it was true. It became like a really long, rough journey, because if you think about it, I started from like below zero.
Yeah.
I was only a housewife and a mom. I was not allowed to go anywhere without his permission. I have to tell him what time I'm leaving, what time I'm coming back, and what roads I took if I did. And if I'm late, I have to give him a really good explanation why I was late.
What a
So
way to live. I
I
mean, I
know
can't even imagine living like that. And I just feel so much for you and so much compassion. And I remember reading when you were at back at the other house, I think, and he was gone for like 5 months. And you somehow managed to squirrel away money and keep it away from him. And you and the kids ate pizza, you did fun stuff, stuff you'd never have been able to do if he was home.
it was a good time
It was
when we were in Arizona. Yeah.
like a resort.
Oh yeah, we had so much pizza. They probably were really happy. There was no bedtime like much, obviously, to a certain point, because they have schools and stuff like that. But I mean, I made sure that everybody was really taken care of. But watch whatever you want, sit and eat pizza. It was like a vacation. I mean, like we were in Arizona and he was in Michigan.
And
for
you're
the
really close in
summer.
age to your children. So, I mean, it's like you're partying with your kids, really, right?
Yeah, my oldest son is 26 and I'm 45.
Yeah. So it's not
So it
that
was a
big a
good
difference.
time. We
Yeah.
all enjoyed it.
And they're Americans. I mean, they don't consider themselves Palestinian, do they?
No, that's all they know. Since they came
Yeah.
here, like my oldest son was like 8 years old. That's all he known. And they never went back home, and they are not wanting to go back home.
I wouldn't even call it home.
No, it is not home. Actually, you're right. I mean, even to me, I am so grateful to be here, because if I did not come back here, I
Yeah.
would still be with him, but not because I want to.
Yeah.
Because if you leave over there, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
You didn't have a chance to work. They're gonna bring you back to him, and it's gonna be even a lot worse.
So when you left and you went to the shelter, a police officer helped you, I think, right? And how long did you stay at the shelter with the kids?
3 months.
And your husband, he still thought, I can beat her. She's my wife. She's just property. And they're like, no, you can't actually. You're not in this country.
No, the safe house did a good job. They did not even know where I was. They were helping me file for divorce paper, obviously keeping
Sure.
my address, a secret and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. But it got to a point, after 3 months, you have to learn to fly on your own, it was really scary for me. I never had my own place.
Yeah.
You have to work. I didn't know, never seen a job application before. So I had all the odds in life against me. I have to learn all that, still strengthen up my English and how to really be outside the house. And on top of that, be there for my family in every way, which
Yeah.
is the amount of depression and worry and fear and anxiety that I had to face. I'm surprised that I'm still walking.
But you guys are close. Your children, I'm sure, really give you a lot of comfort.
Oh yeah,
and
we are
support.
very close since the beginning, and we still are.
They
They're
were
a
your
lot.
bright light.
Oh yeah, they are my motivation. Everything that I did in life before, and I still do till today, till the day I die. Everything that I do, they
Yeah.
are in the front of my mind, and what I do is for them.
They don't want to see their father probably ever.
Oh no, they better not. No. No.
So what often happens with women, and I'm a coach, and I wrote a book about people in relationships and how you go down the same kind of relationship rabbit hole. You met a man and you had that kind of same sign over your head for a little while, because you can't change overnight. And he thought, I can take advantage of her too.
Oh yeah.
She's very naive. I'm gonna take something from her. Like it was his job. He could do this.
Naive, vulnerable, hurt. I never heard the word I love you before, never had a compliment before. And when I heard him, like, wow, that
Did your
feels
father say, I
different.
love you?
My father?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a really good relationship with him. We always had, make our own kind of board games and have coffee and have tea. We talk, we laugh, we joke. I remember when my mom sends him, makes him look like, oh, you're just be angry and yell at the girls and stuff like that. So I kind of stand there and I put my arm like around his shoulder. I'm like, oh, come on, you're not mad. Come on, let's just sit and have coffee or tea. But yeah, and then when my mom walks in, everybody scatters, or my brothers.
And it's interesting that your brothers nobody took after your dad. Like nobody wanted to be the same, kind of like.
My brothers are really, I don't really look at them as humans. My oldest brother threatened to bury me alive if I ever go back home, because me leaving and breaking everything that they set up for me. They say, you brought the shame to the family. Everybody was talking. You stayed over there, different culture, different religion. You did completely everything that would destroy our reputation over here. If you ever come back home, I will bury you alive. And I promise you that.
Did any of your sisters ever reach out and go, can you help? I want out too.
They can't.
They can't.
They are in a situations where they're not fortunate like me, where they can really do something about it. Like I said, the only one out of my sister, her husband was amazing, and I'm so proud of him to grow up over there and be in that culture and still treat his lady like the way he did. He passed away about 2.5 years ago at age 52.
Wow.
And she cries so often, as much as she missed him. She said, I will never be able to find anybody like him. And I can't wait until I am with him, which is, I'm proud of him.
She won't come here. She won't come.
I tried to bring her over here, but between like papers where you have to go do your papers in Israel and here, nothing is lining up. Every time her meeting kind of gets close, they push it like way months, like all the way till next year. So I've been trying with her for like a little over a year. Nothing is working so far.
Well, fingers crossed.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So tell us about the man that you met, and how did you meet him? The second man.
I went to one time after my first job, and I had saving and stuff like that. In our religion, we have like a divorce, which is so simple. I got absolutely nothing out of it. It was on the phone, done with witnesses, and I was divorced. In here, like, your divorce is a lot longer. You don't have money. Your lawyers are not really. So I've after I got divorced and everything, I came across him. I went to go feed the kids McDonald's, and we all shared a couple sandwiches. And then he started playing with the kids, and he started asking questions. To me, I didn't really think too much about it. Okay, where are you from? What are you doing here? And what's your situation? So I was asking, well, what does your husband do? How much are you getting out of him when you get a divorce? And does he have a house? All those kind of questions. It didn't really kind of click with me because I didn't know none of that. So I was
Sure.
just out of a good heart answering.
Yeah.
And not long after that, he asked me to marry him. So we went to like the mosque, and
Oh,
we
he was, I thought that he was not of your religion.
he
I thought-
was
Oh,
he was I'm sorry, he was not. He was from here. He was American.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I told him it's the only way that I can do that. At that time, I was still kind of thinking differently.
Indoctrinated.
Right now, it does not really matter to me.
Yeah.
I would just do it the way
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And we did get married, and we had our baby girl. And he took the settlement. He set up a business. I told him, as long as I can make sure that my kids are taken care of with whatever comes every month, because technically that money is for them.
But he actually defrauded you with his mother, didn't he?
His family did not like me because I was not from here. They were really kind of not nice to me, not very polite. You can tell the way they talk to me and kind of give me the.
And yet you still wanted to marry him?
You know what? I never heard of like being racist before.
Okay.
Like I had so much to learn, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
overwhelming. Like I never really knew like you could not like one person just because
They're from
they're
somewhere
different.
else.
Yeah. I mean, at least I don't look at it that way.
No, not a lot of people. Well, I guess I can't say not a lot of people do, because they do, but
Yeah.
you
So
hope
I
that
mean,
they
I
wouldn't.
didn't
Yeah.
know. Let's just say I was oblivious when it comes to so many things, and he
Sure.
picked up on that. So when we set up the business, he told me you cannot really put it in your name because you're still not like a completely citizen. I had my visa, which is, it was like a 10-year. And I said, okay, you know what? It is your husband. You know, people are supposed to work together. Everything is coming to the same, purpose. And when he got the license for the business, he just took everything and left and filed for divorce.
Geez, you must have been just like slammed. Like,
Yeah.
what
After
the
he took
heck happened to
everything.
you?
Yeah. He came one time. I told him, I really need gas money. I need to go buy things for the kids. He told me, yeah, sure. Here's $60, but you have to sign paper that I gave you $60. It was like, it boggles your mind. It's like after you took thousands, I think it was over $50,000. You want to have me to sign a paper for $60? No.
Did you
I
go
took
after
the
him?
paper.
Did you go after him? Like try to sue?
They said because you guys were married, you
Okay,
gave
so
it to
then
him
did he have to pay support to you in the family?
to pay support just for his daughter, the one that's the youngest one. He still does why. The only reason he does it because it comes out of his disability. He fell off the ladder during the job, and the only reason he pays is because
Was that after you got married that he fell?
during the divorce. The divorce was lengthy. When he
Okay.
got the business and filed for divorce, and him and his family had their way, they brought the business down to the ground. And then he came back crying, can you do something about it?
Karma's a bitch.
I know, right? I like that one. I think about that often. And I said, okay, my plan was I'm going to get it back and I'm going to leave him this time. But he brought it down to the point where financially I didn't have enough to really cover the damage he did. So I left and I filed for divorce. And it takes a while because when you don't have enough money for the lawyers, it's a lengthy process.
Sure.
2010, end of 2010, where I was living, the guy says, look, I cannot really let you stay here. I know you have kids. Here's Christmas. Be here after Christmas. When the New Year show up, you have to leave. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that to you, but Christmas just because for the sake of the kids, which is I appreciate it. So we went to a motel after that. There was 6 of us in one room, 6 kids and me. I was taking classes. I was working majority of the time, and I had to drop off my kids, different ages, different times in school. So I would get only like 3-4 hours of sleep every night.
What were you
2011,
studying? What were you still doing your high school, or what were you studying at this point?
criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
not to
doing
get
really
caught
good. I
stupid
got
again.
4.0.
Good for you, yay.
2011, we were in the motel for like almost a year. It's really hard to really do all that. It was cheap enough. I
Yeah,
couldn't afford anything else. So between me and the kids, we cooperate, we work together, but it was really hard for them to be cooped up in one room.
for sure.
So 2011, about 5 days before Christmas, he came and he told me his daughter was almost 4. He told me, look, I know you work a lot. Let me get her off your hand and I'll bring her back when you come home from work, which is like evening, because working in a restaurant, you have to work a lot to make a little bit of money. She never came back. So he took her, he changed his address and he changed his phone, and nobody would. Actually, at first he told me where he's staying. I went to see her, and when his mom and his girlfriend opened up the door, just a tiny little crack from the door where I can't see her, but I can hear my daughter. And she tells me, don't come back here. You're not allowed here. You're not allowed to see her. So I called the police and they said, well, you really can't do much about it because technically you guys are still in the process of the divorce. So he have a right to see her as much as you do. I don't, but she's been gone for a long time. I can't even talk to her. Nobody did anything. And all
I
the way
can't
until
believe that
next
they didn't
May.
do anything.
Nope. He's still in the divorce. He had the right, which is, it's so unfair.
No.
So he moved to a different area because I went a few days later and there was stuff outside knocking on the door. The neighbors came on. They said they moved.
Why
They're
would the
not here
girlfriend even
anymore.
want your daughter?
Hmm?
Why would she want to raise your child? This other
I don't
woman?
think she wanted to because him and his girlfriend, they were torturing her. They were putting black pepper in her mouth and
Oh,
holding
come
her mouth
on.
shut so she don't cry. I don't think people like that do
Oh
it
my
just to
God,
kind of
yeah.
do something nice. My daughter had nightmares, had separation. She had the dreams that she had after I got her were
Oh, that poor
insane for her
child.
age. So
Why would they do that to her?
so all the way until the following year of May, and I was driving down the road and I had to see a police car that was unmarked. I was homeless, tired, hungry, exhausted, stressed out. All I could think of is my daughter is probably waiting for me somewhere thinking mom is going to show up, and mom doesn't show up. And if she doesn't, that means she doesn't love me. What if she's hurt somewhere? What if she's halfway dead out somewhere? You, as a mom, all you could think of is the negative because you haven't seen your
Absolutely.
daughter and she's
Right.
waiting for you probably. So I talked to that police car, and he was not like an officer like on the road. He told me he was just, work for a court. I don't even remember how he looks like. I said, you know what? You're going to think I'm crazy. But whatever you want to think, that's okay with me. I'm going to tell you what's going on. And if you can't help me, show me where I can go to get my daughter back. So he was working, on the side, trying to
Undercover.
figure out. He says, look, I'm going to help you as much as I can. But after that, forget everything. So one day after way months, he, between asking questions about his family, which is I didn't know much about them, he called me one day in the morning. He says, do you have your car seat? I told him no, but I can go get one. And I went and I drove, and he was standing there and her dad was standing there and he was holding her toward the right side and she was crying. So I approached her and she was so confused. So
Does she
the
remember
guy,
you?
no,
No.
she didn't remember much. So he took her and he handed me to her and he says, here's your daughter. Happy Mother's Day. Now take her and go home. And she was completely different. She forgot some of her siblings. She had problems at night sleeping,
Oh,
anxiety, nightmares. She told me one time a dream where she said, Mom, I had a dream where after I got her, that I found you finally, and I was running toward you and you were running toward me, and between us the bridge turned to blood and I lost you again.
oh my God.
And I never found you. So for a girl that's less than 5 to have dreams like that, it's really hard. And it's all because of abusive people that just don't care how they treat others. Their intention is evil. So it took her a long time between therapy and reassure her and bring her back to speed. And so after my divorces and all that kind of stuff, life was really difficult and stressful in so many different ways. All the odds in life were against me as a mom. And to have 6 kids, all of them looking up to you for
A
survival.
single mother with
You have to
nothing.
learn. You have
Yeah.
to survive. You don't have
There's
to
nothing more resilient than a single mother. I know that.
We're the best. So, I mean, I never got a break in life, but you just don't give up. I mean, every
Yeah.
single day that I woke up depressed, tired, exhausted, don't know where to go, you don't even want to move. You just got to get up and keep trying, because
Yeah.
if you stop, it's just life is going to swallow you. And I still go by that.
Yeah.
If you cannot be successful on what you're trying to achieve today, okay, give
So
yourself
tell
a
us where
break.
you are. Okay, so who helped you? Who helped you after that? There was a good Samaritan. There was somebody who helped you after.
I had churches helped me. I have the school system helped me.
How did you get out of the motel? What was the first step to getting out of the motel?
I saved up money from my taxes here and there. And I had a guy that he says, look, I got EMS. And if you move in here until you find a place, and then after that, you can save up money and you can get your own place. So I got my taxes. I had a lady, she was Middle Eastern. She helped me with $1,000 for a deposit. And I was working a lot. Like I remember my kids all the time. They said, Mom, you're just always working and we don't get to see you. I told them, well, one of the other, whether I stay and we live in the car, or
Yeah.
I work and we have next to nothing, but at least it's something.
Yeah.
And we did. And I had churches help me. I had obviously the state helped me with bridge card and insurance. And my kids never missed like their shots or anything. And I'm really grateful for everything they've done. I'm grateful for being in this country. I absolutely will never take that for granted. I am where I want to be in life, and I am in the best place.
So you graduated from your course in social justice?
Almost there. I have
You're
a few
almost
more
there?
classes, but it was really hard to kind of pick up a lot because
Of
I have
course.
to balance between working and taking care of my kids. I am on the dean's list with Schoolcraft College.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really, really, that's really something. What are you doing for work?
I came across a guy after working in a restaurant. I have my own little saving. I wanted to open up my own business, be like my father. And I told him about my story. He's a businessman, and he told me, I don't really know much about like your idea, but I am looking for someone to help me in my businesses. He's trying to kind of, slow down and retire and run his family kind of operation. And he have like a fund. Now I got in charge of that, where we do donations for shelter, domestic abuse kind of programs in the police stations, in the Canton police, and like give some churches, around holidays, and like First Steps, Samaritas, all those have like, shelters to help out women and their kids and stuff like
Nice.
that. And also now I am a VP for a commercial operation in his commercial real estate. And we're opening a restaurant, and I'm working on wanting to be a partner, a tiny little one.
Yeah.
But my goal is to take over the whole thing once
Yeah.
it's all later
Awesome.
down the road.
It's a good dream.
Thank you.
a
See,
good
don't
dream.
give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah, just
Keep
keep
dreaming.
going. It's hard, it's exhausting, it's discouraging sometimes, but that's what life does to you, and that's what evil people do. They
Yeah.
discourage you, but it is you. You just say, no, that's not gonna work with me, and you keep fighting.
Yeah.
It's
Keep
not
the dream.
easy, it's not fun.
Yeah, you got to just keep holding on, and it's oftentimes when people are just almost right there, that's when they
Yeah.
give up, right? They just give up right at the very, like one more step and you would have made it, but then they give up
Yeah.
for some unknown reason.
But because
yeah.
I never give up, I got now my own home. I never thought I would own a home. I signed last year, which actually this December will be 1 year, brand new home. I got my dream car.
What are you driving?
I have 2 cars. I got a Chevy Equinox, and I got a black and blue Camaro.
Nice.
Convertible 2022. Ooh. It is gorgeous. I named her Blueberry.
I
don't know why, but just did.
I love it.
I have 6 kids. My oldest son is an Oakland County sheriff. I
Nice.
have 2 Marines, a social worker, and one of
Beautiful.
my daughters, the other one, she's taking classes in schoolcraft. And my youngest one is 15. She's on the honor list too. And the other one, social worker, she got a little bit more to go. She's working on finishing up internship and the rest of her classes, and she'll graduate. She's also an honor student. And my youngest daughter, she wants to be a paramedic. So she's taking kind of medical terminology. She's doing really good. And my goals is I want to be my own boss.
Yeah.
In charge of my own self and just look out after my kids, spend more time with them, and I'll never give up. Every time I get to where I want more and I want to learn more. And I approach people. I'm not shy. And if they want to think I'm knucklehead or crazy, that's okay. But I want to learn. Teach me.
You know what? That's like the best approach to have. Your children absolutely learned how to be resilient, how to be resourceful, how to, just be determined and get what you want to get and do it really well. And there's nothing like a role model for that. And you certainly showed them that, man, under the worst situations, you still, not just survived, you thrived, you really did.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's so commendable. And if anybody is listening to this story and going, oh my God, poor me. No, sorry.
It can be done.
It can be done.
It's not easy, but life is not easy.
Yeah.
When we were overseas and one time he was beating me up, and then his son, the oldest one, got involved because he always thought he can, help me out. And then he was also struggling with a math problem. His father went around and he beat him up. He cornered him and beat him up at age, I think it was like 1st or 2nd grade. And he told him, you're an idiot. You are never going to be anything in life. And my son, we never spoke like a lot after that. All those years went by. And 2017, when he graduated the academy, in the police academy, dressed in a uniform, white gloves and everything. And I'm so proud of him and emotional. He came and he put his arm around me and he said, Mom, don't what? He says, you see, I am not an idiot and I am something. But you see, all that, it just sits in the kid's mind.
Absolutely.
And I completely thought he forgot about it. But on a day like that for him, and he just comes to me and he remembers it. It shocked my mind.
That's where it comes from, that determination. He's not gonna, he saw this man, how despicable he was. And he thought, no, sorry.
Yeah. And when my boys graduated from the Marine, they would go through the crucible. So I know their last 3 days being tested. So I know they're up and hungry, and I'm up here hungry with them, and I'm praying for them because I know what they're going through. And when they graduate, I get that phone call and they don't see, Mom, I told you I'll make you proud.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I'm proud of them as the person, the human they are, alone on that part. So don't give
it's
up.
like all of them want to help people.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
I am so proud of them. And they just got such big heart, and something that you can never really take for granted. I don't have any regret. I can't ask God for a better family, and I'm grateful for everybody that stepped in the way and been there for me. I really appreciate them a lot.
I'm glad that you stayed open. Your heart's still open, and I mean, you could have been bitter, but you're not.
I got asked that.
Yeah. It's an outlook. You have it or you don't. I think, and it's a choice to make. That
you choose honestly.
Yourself, right? Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story. I think you're going to help a gazillion people. There's,
I really hope so. I mean, to read the book, I got asked, why did you write the book? Because in my own experience, sometimes when you see someone that's going through something and they talk to you about it, or even if it's online and they open up and it motivates you, it gives you a little bit of hope, from inside, like, okay, I can, there is a chance for me. So for you, look at me, I started from nothing, like everything was against me, and you just got to keep chipping away on every day. And
I think women are afraid, especially smart women, they're always afraid to share, that somebody beat them, or that, they were involved with a man that beat them. And, it happened to me in two of them. And it was like, you know what, you don't want to talk about it. You don't like to share those things. They're negative. But the reality is that it
It
does
is,
happen to a lot of women.
it's everywhere,
It's
wherever you go.
everywhere. Yeah.
except-
And you know what? It doesn't mean that you were stupid. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that, you know, somebody fooled you. Or
Yeah,
somebody-
you
or
just have a good heart and you thought maybe with time you could just open up that
Change them.
person's eyes and make them more of a decent person, more than a
Exactly.
monster. And then it gets to a point where they break you down and it's hard to take the first step to move away. Trust
Yeah.
me, I know that.
Yeah.
It is really difficult and it's scary, but it'll be more scary probably if you stay, because you don't know what
Jesus,
that
you
guy is
can't
gonna
stay.
do to you.
You can't stay.
Yeah,
Don't
but
stay.
nothing better than freedom.
Get out, find a shelter, do something, but don't stay.
Yeah.
Mia, thank you. I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook. We're going to stop the streaming, and I'm just going to stop the recording.